especially right now, that at this point you have probably most likely made some plans for this year. I mean, I don't know what your plans are, but you probably have some great plans in store. Maybe you plan on writing a book. Maybe you plan on going back and getting another degree. Maybe you plan on starting a business. Maybe you plan on finding that special love of your life. Maybe you're making a plan to actually make some type of a career change or a pivot. Or maybe you're planning to finally put yourself in a position to make income off of your gift, your skill, your talent. Well, one thing is certain, you most likely have some type of plan. I mean, I know for sure that the type of people who listen in for motivational messages are normally people who aspire to have more out of life, who really want to get to the next level and are hoping to accomplish their goals and their dreams. So I have no doubt that you have plans, but I want to share something with you. And this is something that I've shared quite a while ago, and I want to revisit this because I want to make sure that you understand this. And the person I'm going to quote, and I know don't blame me on this, but you know, because some of you, when we think of Mike Tyson, a lot of times we don't think of really profound words, right? Because unfortunately, Mike Tyson has made some poor decisions and poor choices in the back. But one thing is certain, we cannot dispute the fact that this man was at one point the heavyweight champion in the world. And not only that, but perhaps one of the best heavyweight boxing fighters ever in the history of the planet. And so one of the things that Mike Tyson said that I absolutely love, and I'll never forget this, I remember doing some research and I was reading in on an interview that Mike Tyson had. And let me tell you something, Mike Tyson was in his prime. And of course, you know, this was the time that we're talking about Iron Mike Tyson, when people are stepping in the ring with Mike Tyson, and I mean, they were literally not even lasting for a couple of seconds. I remember one of my friends that always used to have these boxing fight parties, and they went ahead and got it on DirecTV and whatever you want to say, Comcast, whatever the subscriber was, but basically they paid to have the boxing fight. And I'll never forget this. Mike Tyson had a boxing fight, and the fight was just about to begin, and someone rang the doorbell, and we ordered some pizza, and I had to go to the front door to get the pizza. And as I was going ahead and getting the pizza and paying the pizza delivery man, I heard, "Oh!" And literally, I ran back to the living room, and the fight was over. Mike Tyson already knocked the person out less than like 15 seconds. And so we're talking about that Iron Mike Tyson. And so Mike Tyson was in the middle of an interview. I mean, this is the time Mike Tyson's at his prime. I mean, he had been knocking people out. He was undefeated, literally just pound for pound, the best heavyweight boxing fighter. And so they were talking to Tyson. They're saying, "Listen, man, you got all these people who are speculating, and they're talking about, you know, dethroning Iron Mike Tyson, man. We're talking about, you know, some of these people are saying, you know, you're good, but, you know, no one has really pushed you to the limit. And so nobody's really tested your endurance." And then other people say, "You know what, you're just a bully. If you go against a skilled fighter will probably be able to outmaneuver you, outskill you in the boxing ring, and eventually be able to beat you." And so they were going from one thing to the other, you know, the reasons why they believe that somebody would eventually be able to beat Mike Tyson. And I'll never forget the words of Mike Tyson. Here's what he said. He said that everybody has a game plan until they get hit. I want you to write that down. Here's what he said. He said that everybody has a game plan until they get hit. And so here's what Mike Tyson knew. You know, they could do all the game planning and strategizing that they wanted. They could talk about how they were going to get in the ring and be able to try to take Mike Tyson deep into the like 8th and 9th round. They could talk about how they were going to outbox Mike Tyson and come up with a strategy to be able to stay away and distance themselves from his power. You know, they were talking about all these great things, but Mike Tyson knew that regardless of what the game plan was, it's great that they had a game plan, but he knew that when they got in the ring and he hit them and they feel the force in which he hit them, that all of a sudden now, whatever game plan they had getting into the ring, they completely forgot about the game plan. All of a sudden now, they find themselves backed against the corner. All of a sudden, they find themselves asking the question, why did I even get into this arena? Why did I get into this ring with the Iron Mike Tyson? And I love when Mike Tyson said that, because let me tell you something, that is so true about life. You see, oftentimes in life, we come up with this magnificent game plan, right? We're all excited. I'm excited. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to start the business. You know, this year, I'm going to make multiple six figures in my business. This year, I'm going to make seven figures in my business. This is going to be the year that I'm going to lose the weight. This is going to be the year that I'm going to finally accomplish my goals and my dreams. We come up with all these great plans, and then life comes around the corner and bam, life hits us. And the question then becomes, what do you do after you get hit? Because let me tell you something. I'm telling you, there is profound wisdom in Mike Tyson's quote when he said that everybody, and that includes you, that includes me, that all of us have a game plan until we get hit. And one of the things that we know is that most people, once they get hit, let me tell you, they literally step out of the arena. Once they get hit, they give up on their goals and their dreams. Once they get hit, they make the decision that, you know what, maybe perhaps that I shouldn't try to write this book. Maybe I shouldn't try to start this business. Maybe I shouldn't try to go get another degree. Maybe I shouldn't try to enter another relationship. Once they get hit, all of a sudden they start to reevaluate if it's even worth them pursuing their goals and their dreams. And so I want you to think about for a moment, maybe perhaps a game plan that you have in your life, something that you're looking to accomplish, something that you're hoping to make happen. And maybe perhaps you've already experienced that hit and you've given up because you've gotten hit. And I want to maybe have you reconsider that maybe when you get hit, that maybe perhaps you shouldn't just give up, but maybe you should find a way to draw from that lesson. Maybe perhaps that you should find a way to see if you can handle the hit, if you can continue to push forward, understanding that oftentimes that hit is preparing you for your next opportunity. That hit is preparing you and really preparing you for this next thing that's in store for you. And here's what I know. Unfortunately, most of us will never get to that next level. Most of us fall short of our goals and our dreams because that hit takes us out. And I'm telling you, I'm not immune to that. I can tell you, I mean, I got story after story after story in which I came up with this great game plan and I was all excited about something, and then life just all of a sudden hit me. I tell you, probably the most significant decision I ever made is while I was still working in corporate America, and some of you know my story. I was in corporate America. I was a CPA. I was working for PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the largest professional service firms in the world. And I remember, like, you know, I came up with this game plan, and even though I was afraid, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was very afraid about making the decision to leave my job in corporate America. And the reason why I was afraid is because I had gotten my undergraduate degree in accounting. I got my master's degree in accounting. I studied like crazy. I passed the CPA exam. And now I was considering leaving this great company, walking away from everything that I got a degree in to follow a new pursuit, to try to figure out and become an entrepreneur and figure out what my passion is and develop an entirely different business based off of what my passion was and develop the voice that you're hearing right now. And so I remember coming up with this game plan, right? This game plan, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a date. This is going to be the date that I'm going to go ahead and put in my letter of resignation. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to talk to the lady that was head of HR at the time. Her name is Tammy. And I'm going to tell her how I'm leaving. And then I'm going to get out there and I'm going to just start my own business. And I'm going to make all this money and I'm going to have all this success. And it's just going to be a fairy tale story. Well, listen, that was the game plan. But let me tell you something. It didn't quite work out the way I anticipated. Number one, when I made the decision that I was going to leave corporate America, that literally when I set the date, lo and behold, about 3 weeks before the date that I set to resign, I got an email notification saying that I had actually got promoted. And so I was going from one position in the company, I was getting promoted to another position. And on top of that, that they were also giving me a pay increase. So I want you to think about this for a moment. Sometimes we think about the hits. Sometimes we think about the obstacles that come our way when we come up with a plan. We always think that sometimes we think it's always going to be something negative, but sometimes it's something positive that gets us to reconsider, something that gets us to reevaluate as to whether or not we really want to move forward on our goals and our dreams. So that was the first thing that came up that had me second guessing myself. Like, man, do I still leave? You know, I just got promoted. Maybe I should stick around for another year or two. maybe I should go ahead and save up this extra money I'm going to get in the promotion and so forth. But the good thing is I still decided to follow through on the game plan. And so I made that decision in December of 2004. But let me just tell you something. Once I made that decision, I was seeking and looking for an opportunity. And the reason why I was looking for an opportunity is because while I was working in corporate America, I saved up all this money. I had saved up a significant amount of money. I was excited. I was ready to be an entrepreneur. I was ready to make some things happen. And then I had a family friend. I'll never forget this, a family friend that gave me a call. I said, Andy, listen, man, I know you just left corporate America. I know you are looking for an opportunity, man. I want to come over and talk to you about a tremendous opportunity. And I was like, yeah, man, I'd love to hear about it. So he came over to the house, and I remember like it was yesterday. We sat down at the little breakfast table that we had, and he laid out all this paperwork, and he was talking to me. He said, man, let me tell you, man, I want to talk to you about Costa Rica. Costa Rica is this beautiful, beautiful country. And, the landscape is amazing there. But the most important thing, Andy, you don't understand, this place is going to be one of the #1 destination for people who are looking to retire. And he said, man, listen, there's a tremendous opportunity there for investors. And so here's my idea. We're going to go ahead and buy a lot over in Costa Rica, and we can go ahead and develop a little log cabin community, and we're going to sell these log cabins. And I'm telling you, you're in a position to make a significant amount of money. Now, I know you've been saving up some money, and so I want to talk to you about some figures and see if this is possibly something you want to move forward on. So I'm listening to this guy. Everything he's saying is making sense. I get excited. I jump on the airplane. I go to Costa Rica. I'm in Costa Rica. He's showing me, everything he talked about pretty much was true. Costa Rica was beautiful. I met many people there who had retired. He showed me the place that we intended to buy the land. He showed me the plans as far as the log cabins, and he showed me how it wasn't really very expensive at the time. And so I literally took everything that I had saved up and I invested it with this guy in Costa Rica. And I mean, let me tell you, I was excited. I remember that plane ride coming back. I was excited. In my mind, I was like, man, you know what? This is amazing. I'm just going to make all this money. And I mean, boy, I said, I had no idea that, I was going to break through and have this kind of success as an entrepreneur right away. And so I think you know where I'm going with this story, right? Things didn't quite work out the way that I anticipated. You see, that family friend of mine started off doing very well. For the next couple of weeks, he was calling me every week, let me know how things were going. And then it reached the point where I wasn't hearing from this guy. And so, of course, I started getting nervous. I'm calling him up. He's not picking up his phone. I'm calling him. He's not picking up his phone. I'm using all these calling cards, calling this guy. And finally, when I get in contact with him, unfortunately, he tells me everything I don't want to hear. And so I'm on the phone with this guy. And number one, lo and behold, he violated my trust because he told me he was going to do one thing with my money and he did something else. Number two, the something else that he chose to do with my money, it turned out to be a bad decision and he lost all of the money that I invested with him. And so I need you to realize this. I made this important decision. I had this quote unquote game plan, right? How I was going to become this entrepreneur. And I planned by my first major investment is going to be this overseas investment in Costa Rica. I take literally all of my savings I invested in Costa Rica. I left my job in corporate America. I have no income that's coming in on a weekly basis. Now I have literally lost all of my savings. And now I find out that not only did I lose all my savings, but now I also don't have a job anymore. And so now I have to make a major decision. And the decision is, do I go back and ask for my job back, or do I find a way to make things happen? And I share that with you because for me, that particular situation, that moment, that was one of the most significant and devastating hits that I experienced early on in my entrepreneur career, early on in pursuing my goals and my dreams. And I'm telling you that the way that I responded to that hit ultimately made the entire difference in the trajectory of my life, made the entire difference. Is literally the difference between you hearing me right now deliver this message to you right now and you never even hearing about me at all as a speaker, as a coach, as a trainer. That the way that I chose to respond to that hit, and let me just tell you something because I don't want you to mistake for a moment. That hit took the absolute win out of me. I mean, I just kept replaying that situation in my mind over and over and over again. I literally entered a mini state of depression. I was devastated. I didn't want to eat. I was just thinking about this thing over and over again. I was ashamed. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know if I was going to go back and ask for my job back. I didn't know if I should push forward. And maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you experienced one of those hits. Life hits you in a way that you just flat out didn't anticipate. I mean, you know what kind of hit I'm talking about. I'm talking about when the person that you've been with all your life tells you, hey, we need to talk. And then they hit you with the bombshell and they tell you that maybe they cheated on you, or maybe they tell you that they no longer want to be in the marriage. The kind of hit when you go into the doctor for a regular checkup and then the doctor tells you, hey, we got to run some additional tests. We see something that we didn't expect. The type of hit when you have somebody that you love, someone who plays a significant role in your life, and unfortunately they pass away. The type of hit when you've been working for a company for years and then they call you in and they say, hey, listen, we just want to let you know that your services are no longer needed here. I'm talking about those type of hits. I'm talking about those earth-shattering hits. I'm talking about those hits that make you want to reconsider and think about whether or not you want to get back into the arena of life. And that's why I love what Mike Tyson said. He said, everybody has a game plan until they get hit. But here's my question for you. What do you do after you get hit? And so I'm telling you right now that how I choose to respond, and I'm telling you, I'm not saying that it was easy, but the fact that I was willing to keep pushing forward. And for me, many of the keep pushing forward was literally asking myself that based off of the decision that I made to pursue my goals and my dreams, based off of the decision that I made to leave corporate America, Andy, what's the next best step? What's the one step that you can take right now that's going to allow you to keep moving forward in the direction of your goals and your dreams? And so I started strategizing. I started thinking to myself, I say, Andy, listen, if you keep focusing on the hit, if you keep focusing on the money that you lost, you're not going to be able to move forward. You're not going to be able to progress, man. Let's think about how can you move forward. And so I had to start transforming my mind, but most importantly, I had to start changing the story that I was telling myself. And so that I had to go from saying, Andy, listen, man, you're a failure. This isn't working out for you, to making me realize, hey, Andy, that was one event, and that one event does not define who you are. And so failure is not who you are. That particular event, unfortunately, was a failure, and that's okay. But somebody also said, Andy, when you lose, don't lose the lesson. It's only a failure if you don't take the time to get the feedback. What's the feedback that you can learn from this? Number one, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you're going to make some poor decisions. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you need to do a little more due diligence. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you're going to lose. You're going to make an investment and things aren't going to work out the way you anticipated. But understand that it's part of the process, and you got to just keep moving forward. And oftentimes the lesson that you get from whatever experience has hit you and knocked you down is the very lesson that you're going to have to use to take advantage of the next opportunity. And so I started talking to myself. I literally started to change the conversation that was going on in my mind. And I share that with you to help you to understand this, that even right now, if you're in the middle of a hit, or if there's going to be a hit that's going to come your way, yes, Mike Tyson is right. Everybody's got a game plan until they get hit. But believe me on this, if you're willing to keep pushing forward, if you're willing to lean into the hit, if you're willing to not give up, if you're willing to just to maybe perhaps retreat a little bit, but not surrender, but if you're willing to keep your eye on the prize, if you understand the words of Winston Churchill, he said, when you're going through hell, keep going. If you understand the words of Dr. Willie Jolly when he said that a setback is a setup for a comeback, if you understand the words of Lewis Morier, when life knocks you down, you don't have to stay there. If you understand those things, then you know that you can continue to move forward. You know that you can continue to push past the hit. And so I'm telling you, I can assure you of this, that when you make the decision to go after your goals and your dreams, when you make the decision that you're going to make some things happen, that believe me on this, you will experience some hits. You will experience some hits, but it's going to always be your responsibility. And the ultimate deciding factor is all the time how you choose to respond to those hits. When you get hit, you can choose to become bitter or you can choose to become better. You see, Charles Swindoll said that life is only about 10% what happens to you. The other 90% is how you choose to respond. How will you respond to the hit? You see, most people, when they get hit, they lay down on the canvas. Most people, when they get hit, they jump out of the arena. What I'm saying is, when you get hit, you got to find a way to get back up. Let me tell you something. When you have two people who are in the middle of getting in a fight, one of the most demoralizing things for the aggressor is if they literally put everything that they got into hitting their opponent. And so, I mean, they literally put all their power into punching their opponent, all their power into pushing their opponent into the ground. And even though they put in all their power, all their force, the opponent either falls down and gets back up, or the opponent takes the hits and continue to move forward. That literally would crush your ego. If you were in the process right now of getting in a fight with someone and you hit them with everything that you had, and after hitting them, you realize that, number one, they weren't phased, or number two, they fell down and they kept getting back up and back up, you'll realize that your confidence level begins to go down. You'll realize that now you start to change your perception about them, and now you start to doubt yourself. Well, let me tell you something. The same thing applies to life. You see, when life begins to hit you, when life begins to knock you down, when life tries to push you on the canvas and you continue to get back up again and again and again, when you get hit and you keep moving forward, when you get hit, you fall down on the canvas and you keep getting up. After a while, life says, wait a second here. Wait a second. This is not the kind of opponent that I'm used to. You see, most of the opponents, when I hit them, when I devastate their goals and their dreams, when I do something to them, when they get fired from their job, when they get the bad doctor's notice, when they're having trials and tribulations in their relationships, most of the time when I hit them, they lay down. Most of the time when I hit them, they get out of the arena. But wait a second, something's different about this man. Something's different about this woman. Every single time I hit him with something, he keeps coming forward. Every time I hit her with something, she keeps coming forward. And so finally life would come to the realization, wait a second, maybe I need to just let this person be. Nah, let this person, let them get up. Because obviously they're not going to give up on their goals and their dreams. Obviously, they're not going to throw in the towel. Obviously, no matter how bad I beat them up, they're not going to get out of the arena. And so that's how you earn your stripes in life. That's how you find a way to earn your belt, your own personal belt. That's how you become the champion in your own life. That's how you become the hero. That's how you literally are able to win the championship in your life, is if you can find a way to take those hits and continue to move forward, continue to do the things that are required of you. And so I can tell you right now that there is profound wisdom in what Mike Tyson said. Everybody's got a game plan until they get hit. And I can assure you of this, that when you make the decision to pursue your goals and your dreams, one thing is certain, I'll be the first to tell you, you will experience a hit. Let me tell you something. Scripture says that in this world, there will be trials and tribulations. Not that there may be, not that there's a 50-50 chance. There will be trials and tribulations. Things are going to happen to you. And I'm telling you, I wish I could tell you that after I recovered from that Costa Rica investment, that I didn't experience any hits after that. But I tell you something, and I'll share this with you. A couple of years after I recovered from that whole Costa Rica investment, and things started to look a little better for me. I had actually was investing in real estate at the time, and things were actually going very well. I was buying homes, fixing them, and flipping them. This is before my speaking career. And, you know, it was at the peak of the real estate market, and things were going very well. And I had a friend of mine that called me up and said, hey, Andy, listen, man, I know you're doing all of these transactions and so forth. He said, listen, I'm in the middle of a project right now. I have a home that I'm building. It's new construction, and I'm short on you know, the resources to finish up this construction. And I need a temporary loan, man. If you could just lend me, I don't know, you know, and it was literally tens of thousands of dollars. He asked me, I'm not going to say the exact amount, but he said, if you could just lend me this money, I'll pay you back in less than 60 days. It's just a short-term loan, and I'll make sure I pay you back. And so me remembering my initial hit, right? Remember the investment I made in Costa Rica. And so this time I'm like, oh man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it smart this time. So even though I'm lending a friend money, I'm going to make sure that I get the right and proper documentation. So, I made sure that I had a promissory note drafted. I made sure to also get collateral. He had a piece of real estate. I made sure to record a mortgage against his real estate. And so I'm thinking, like, you know what? I've got this is solid right here. I've done everything that I could do, especially based off of my previous experience. And let me just tell you something. Unfortunately, the market shifted. And my friend, I tell you, to this day, I know he had every intention in paying me back in 60 days. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. The investment he was in a part of and the house he was constructing, the deal went south. The market changed. And not only did the market change, that investment he was working on, the deal fell through. And even then, I'm thinking, well, I'm still okay because I have collateral, because I put a mortgage, I put a lien against one of his properties. But guess what? The market turned so bad that even that property that I put a lien and a mortgage against, guess what? He lost that property too. And there was another mortgage in the first position, and the value of the property changed so much that guess what? I lost that money too. And so literally, this is just a couple years after that previous hit. I thought I recovered, and bam, another hit comes my way. And I wish I could tell you right now that when life hits you with something, that you're going to just recover. And once you recover, you're not going to get hit anymore. And let me tell you something. If I told you that, that'd be an absolute lie. That I can tell you right now, that once you make the decision to go after your goals and your dreams, that understand that wherever you are right now and whatever your goals and your dreams are, that in between and the distance that you have to travel, that there's not going to just be one hit, there's going to be several hits. And I can tell you that if you intend on making it to your goals and your dreams, you better expect to be hit. You better expect to go through some stuff. And if you're not ready to go through those things, and if you're not willing to endure, then you might as well just go ahead and grab yourself a pillow, get yourself some hot cocoa, and get your TV remote and just lay down in your bed and play it safe and vegetate and veg out and have no goals and have no dreams. But I'm telling you right now, once you make the decision to go after your goals and your dreams, you're going to experience some hits. Some things are going to happen. And once again, I find myself having to go through the process all over again. Trying not to blame my friend and trying not to get frustrated, because I'm telling you right now, to this day, and we're still great friends, he had no intention on borrowing money from me and not paying me back. And he has since tried to make good, but to be quite honest with you, I never really quite recouped that money from him. But I tell you, here's what the beautiful thing is. Even though I didn't recoup the money from him, but because I was willing to keep pushing forward, because I didn't let that hit take me out, let me tell you, the money that I lost with him, I have made that money tenfold. I have made that money tenfold, not necessarily from him, but I've made that money back tenfold. And that's the thing I want you to understand. And if you're a note taker, I want you to write this down. That number one, understand this, that when we're talking about taking hits in life, number one, realize this, that it is part of the process. That the moment you make a decision that you're going after your goals, you're going after your dreams, that understand taking hits is part of the process. You're going to go through some stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to go through some stuff, and it's not always going to feel good. So understand that. Allow me to be the first one to tell you, you are going to go through some stuff. So understand, number one, that it is part of the process. It is absolutely part of the process. Now, here's the other thing that I need you to realize, that once you are hit, the key is to continue to get back up. The key is to continue to move forward, because oftentimes the hit that you encounter is really just preparing you for the next thing that is going to come your way. And oftentimes you wouldn't even be able to embrace, you wouldn't be able to appreciate whatever else that's coming your way if you didn't first find a way to actually deal with the hit. Because I tell you, a lot of times when you go through a hit, you come out the other end a completely different person. You actually grow through the process. That's why we say that oftentimes when you're going through something, you're not just going through it, you're growing through it. Your trials, your tribulations, your setbacks, your hits are often doing a work in you. They're often preparing you. They're stretching you. They're helping you to grow. That's why Martin Luther King said the true character of a man or a woman is established not during times of comfort and convenience, but rather during times of challenge and controversy. That's why it's been said that if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And so those hits prepare you for the next best thing. Those hits get you ready to get to the next level. And so understand this, that the key is to continue to get back up. Now, here's what I need you to understand. If you're willing to get back up, if you're willing to keep pushing forward, every single time it will work out. It may not work out the way that you wanted it to work out, but believe me, it will work out. Tracy McMillan said this, that every single thing works out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out yet, then guess what? It's not the end. So the fact that you lost your job, listen to this, it's going to work out. You may not get that job. You may not get the exact job that you want, but it's going to work out in the end. You will be presented with another opportunity. You'll be in a better position. For those of you, you've gone through a significant heartbreak. It's painful right now, but listen to this. You will recover. You will make it. You will find somebody else. You will be okay. If right now you know that you've been pursuing a goal and a dream and it's been difficult, it hasn't been working out for you, if you continue to persist, if you continue to move forward, listen, it will work out. Everything. It may not work out the way you want it to, but everything works out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out yet, then it's not the end. And so let me tell you, Mike Tyson, this gentleman has some great wisdom when he said that everybody's got a game plan until they get hit. But let me tell you something, that the key is to understand that number one, that getting hit is part of the process, that number two, that you got to continue to get up, you got to continue to push forward even after getting hit. And that if you're willing to continue to push forward, that over time it will work out and it's going to work out in your favor. And so I hope that you got a tremendous value from this message, because I know one thing's for certain, you're going to get hit with some things in life. But I also know that regardless of whatever comes your way, that you're going to be able to handle it. And so, yes, everybody's got a game plan until they get hit. But hopefully at this point, you know how to handle the hits. You know, this wouldn't be Andy Henriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Show up for your lives, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't, nobody else will. All right. Well, listen, here's what I want to do right now. I want to extend a couple invitations to you. Number one, if you and I are not connected for some reason, I want to extend a very quick invitation for you, a very simple way that you and I can connect. You're going to simply go to showupforyourlife.com. It's just a website that you can go to that's going to allow you and I to connect very quickly. When you get there, you're going to see a banner. Go ahead and put in your name and your email address and hit the submit button. When you do that, it's going to send you an instant motivational message from me to you. But most importantly, it's going to allow me to stay connected with you so I can continue to send you videos and messages and content that I believe is going to allow you to continue to show up for your life and really take your life to the next level. Now, the other thing is I want you to join my private Facebook community. And so what I want you to do is open up a separate web browser, put in the word showupgroup.com. Put in showupgroup.com. When you do that, it's going to direct you to a private group. When you get there, put in a request to join the group. We'd love for you to join us, and you'll be able to join the Show Up for Your Life Motivational Community Group. It's going to allow me to put a face to your name, and it's the place that all of us come together so that we can connect, communicate, and share what's going on. So we'd love for you to join that community. And the last thing is, I also want to extend a very special invitation to you to join me and my wife, Coach Kaz. My wife is a powerful, very powerful speaker and coach. She's one of the leading authorities in really helping women to find and attract the kind of love that they want in their lives. But she's also a very savvy businesswoman and entrepreneur. And so we have a 6-month coaching program that's designed specifically for either entrepreneurs, beginning entrepreneurs who are looking to start their business, for entrepreneurs that are maybe struggling and looking to take their business to the next level, or people who have the desire to become speakers and coaches. We take you through a 6-month process to really share many of the things that we had to learn over the years, going to workshops and seminars, and had to spend a lot of resources to try to learn this information. And so we want to be able to speed up the learning curve and share some great information to help you to get your business off the ground, take it to the next level, or help you to finally start making some things happen. And so if you're interested in learning a little more about the 6-month coaching program, I want to direct you in a place to fill out a very quick application. The application will probably take you less than 2 minutes to fill this application. And someone from our office will be in contact with you so we can set up a quick call to tell you a little more about the coaching program and see if this coaching program may be a good fit for you. And so here's the website you're going to go to. You're going to simply go to yourpowercouple.com. Once again, that is yourpowercouple.com. When you go to yourpowercouple.com, you're going to see a landing page. Just put in your information, fill out the application, and someone from our office will be in contact with you within the next 24 hours to set you up with an appointment to tell you a little more about the coaching program. And so like we always do, I'm going to make sure that I open up the lines. We're going to open